Welcome back in, y'all. We are Black Girls Talking TV, where we bring the group chat to life and discuss all your favorite TV shows. Today is all about episodes 10 through 12 of season 8 of Love is Blind. I'm Victoria. I am a psychologist in New York and Chicago.
And I'm Kamaria. I am a pop culture writer and an attorney in the DC area.
And I'm Chi Chi. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. I live in London with a virtual presence in Virginia. So let's get right into it, y'all. Like, what are your thoughts on Dave and Lauren?
I had so many thoughts. I felt like that whole exchange, it was like the bottom line was he wasted her time, like wasted all of her time. I just don't even understand why he thought he would look better in this way. But you could tell he was trying to do all this to not look like the bad guy, but he ended up looking like the biggest douchebag. So it was just all for not, you know?
Yeah. I mean, even he said it when he was like talking to the boys when they all met up at that bar. He was like, yeah, I was trying not to be the only one making the decision. That was your reason for taking so long because you didn't want to break up with her? Come on now. Like, if you're not feeling it with someone, you just got to let them know. Yeah, I really felt for her, but I had a feeling it was about ego. It was that she had slept with a friend of a friend, right? Even though he didn't really know the guy, his friends knew the guy, his sister knew the guy, and he was like, yeah, I'm not about to marry a girl who has slept with like a guy that I could be running into. Um, yeah, and I wish she could have just said that from the jump. Like, I know it might just be my ego, but this is what it is.
I honestly felt like he was just lying that he wasn't into her. That's how I felt. Like, I feel like he
Oh.
was lying the entire time that he wasn't feeling her, or he was trying to keep his options open for Molly. And then when Molly came and shut him down, I feel like that's what started this whole like, that's not an option. So let me, move forward with this as an option. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know.
He became remorseful once Molly was like, "Yeah, I feel like you took that situation and you ran with it and you shouldn't have. That's your fiance. You should have been able to back her up and you wasn't about it." So now he's like,
Hmm.
"Okay, I'm so sorry. Like it was my ego." And he's admitting all the things that he knew from the jump, and it's because Molly wasn't having it. And
Yeah.
everything thing was so contradicting to me. There were a lot of statements that he was saying that didn't make sense, right? Like even for his sister, like they were at the end and was like, he was like, "What did your sister say?" And she was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm here for you." I was like, that doesn't sound like a sister who was dogging Lauren out and not wanting you to be with her. Now she's sorry that it didn't work out and she wants to be there for you. That didn't make sense to me. Then he was like, "Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we had fun when we went out." And then he was like, "But it was hard to have a good time, like."
Yeah, yeah, he be lying.
He was just all over the place. He didn't know what he wanted to do. And unfortunately, he took Lauren along for the ride. And her feelings was hurt. I mean, I did feel for her. That is the best decision in the long run. Because Dave, he's emotionally immature. And I think he sort of hinted at that at the beginning in the pods of like, I've been quite superficial, right, in my relationships. And I'm like, oh, don't say I've been. Say I still am superficial in my relationships because it just showed throughout this whole situation.
Yeah, I was just like, for him, like it's almost like if it is true, all of this, then it's almost like he just cares too much about other people's perceptions of him. And even in him coming back to Lauren at the end of the day, it almost feels like he came back because he was worried about looking like a bad guy because he's getting this feedback from Molly that's like, oh, maybe I'll look like a bad guy. And so he's trying to be like, oh, I'm trying to make amends for it. And then it's like he's worried about his sister, like the perception his sisters have and his friends have. So it's like I don't know what's the truth, but I know something's not right. It's not what he said. And like he did so much that he got me feeling sorry for Lauren. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm not a fan of Lauren, but you got me out here feeling like, girl, Lauren, trying to be an advocate for Lauren. And it's like she's not
Yeah.
even my favorite character, like on the show. So that's how I know.
Yeah. And did you all see when Madison walked in and he was like, "Who's that?" And they were like, "Madison." He was like, "Wow." And I was like, oh, "Okay. So clearly you should never came on Love is Blind because you actually want to see what your love looks like ahead of time because it's going to influence your love."
Right,
Absolutely.
exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he was a hot mess. A lot of their conversations I was having, I was, like, literally yelling at the screen like, "Lauren, stand up. Stand up, girl." Like, there's no way that you don't see that this man is playing in your face, and I get it. Once you make that
Mhm.
type of commitment, you want to fight for it. But there was at a certain point, like even when they were talking about him going to go meet Lauren's father, and I'm like, Lauren's dad was right to call you out on your BS. He didn't
Yes.
want to come on these cameras because he was about to
Yeah.
participate in his daughter
Yes.
looking like a fool. And instead, you threw that back in her face when no one has met your people.
Right.
Absolutely.
They don't meet just anyone. So now I'm just anyone?
Oh, I was like, are you at this process trying to get married or not? Like,
And we are in Minneapolis. Like all of these people somehow, even like on TikTok and stuff, like they're showing how they're kind of like all connected but not connected. So I'm like, you already know the dating scene is small. So the likelihood that you might have ran into somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, slim to none. Y'all are all in the same age range. Two
Right.
of them in the same high school, just at different times. Like, I'm like, you thought you was gonna
Yeah.
walk out of this situation without just knowing anybody slightly or someone not knowing someone, and everyone around
Mhm.
you is saying, Lauren is a great person. Like, even Molly, like Lauren is not even like that. So you fell in love with her because of these things, and yet you're still basically treating her like she's some slut out here just smashing and passing.
yeah.
Like,
Right.
And I'm so glad Molly asked him, like, when's the last time you had sex? Because we didn't know the way they cut it, it didn't seem like it was that. But I'm so glad she asked him because him out here, he probably lying. First of all, so it's been a while. I've been sold. It's probably that was a lie. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a lie. I
Lies.
don't know, of course, but it sounded like a lie. It sounded
We
like
know it was a lie.
yeah, Molly knew it was a lie. Lauren knew it was a lie because what's a while?
yes,
Right.
Even man,
yes,
what's a while? Like, be effing for
yeah,
real.
yeah,
He
and
just been lying since he came out.
yeah, yeah, and it's just sad. It's like it just looks pitiful. He made his family look horrible. Like his family and friends, they look horrible to me more than they would have if they came on the show and actually participated in the process. Because I don't believe that they were having as much of a fight as he says they were. I just don't. I don't think
Yeah.
that. I think it was him, like we said in the last episode. I was surprised that he met her family, though. To be honest, I was like, you really gonna go through with this charade? Okay, keep going, keep going. And then when at the scene, like he was a little drunk. Like, I don't know if y'all picked up on that.
Definitely
Yeah.
drunk. Drunk as a skunk. Looked like a damn idiot.
Right.
Yeah, because he was
When he
like
was trying
slurring
to
his words.
apologize.
And I was like, oh, why would Netflix show him like this? But I was like, this is who he's showing up as.
Right. It's too
Right.
late. It was too late at that point.
He deserves to be shown in whatever light because he literally, the headline, he wasted her time completely. He knew
Mhm.
way back, probably when they was in Honduras, that he was not dealing with that girl, and he
Right.
carried it on, keep trying to get her to break up with him. And then even like you could just tell in the way he argued with her at the bar. He was like, "You didn't text me, call me either. I didn't. Why she gotta call you? I don't understand. Why does she need to call you? You broke up with her. She's supposed to be in this engaged process. Why would she call you?
Yeah.
I would think less of her if she did call you.
Mhm.
So the fact that you're using that in an argument, well, I mean, I didn't reach out because she was like, you didn't reach out or say anything. You're just saying something now. And he was like, well, you didn't reach out either. Like, I hate when guys do that. Like,
Yeah.
try to equate everything. It's annoying. But she did smile and she was smiling a little too much in that in indie conversation for me. Like, I hope she does not go back to him, but she was smiling a little bit too much for me. It made me wonder, do you think she's gonna stay away or do you think like what?
I don't think she's gonna go back because he made a comment when he was like drunk, saying something like, kind of insinuating to the point of like maybe we can try again. But she said something like, "Oh, it's too late for that," or something
Yeah,
like
she
that.
did.
I don't think she'll go back because I think hopefully her friend sort of told her by now, honey, he's not into you. He's just not. And he wasn't into you when he first, like when you all were in Honduras, and he didn't, instead of him just saying it then, he's went through with the charade. He met your mother. I think that's the reason why he never introduced his friends and family because he knew I'm not about to marry this girl. And now I need to create some type of charade so she can break up with me. And she didn't, which then led to you just having to break up with her, which is what you should have done from the beginning.
Even if
Yes.
they did try, there's no way y'all are sitting there watching these episodes back. Even if you're not watching the episodes back, the social media commentary, baby. Like, don't be an Ashley. Don't be an Ashley when all the red flags are there and they are blaring red. I mean, cherry hot fire red. They ain't even an ounce of pink, an ounce of yellow, nothing, sis. So I would hope that if they did try, that now that everything is fully out, like all the conversations he was having behind the scenes or whatever, like at this point, it was very clear he didn't want to be with you. And I don't know how she would have taken that considering how like determined she was to be chosen to now see in front of her face she actually was not chosen.
Yeah.
Right? Like he was with you, but you still were not the one that he chose because all of his actions showed that he was not in this with you.
I
So,
agree.
yeah, I don't know. Even that last one of the last conversations he had when he was like, what he said, on a very real level, I am still in love with you. Like, what does that mean? On a very real level, and that's the hard part.
Yeah.
I feel like all the men were offering a lot of lip service. There was just so much happening. The feelings that I have for you. I mean, just all the things that they were all saying. I'm like, I'm exhausted with watching y'all say this mess. Ain't none of y'all in love with these women.
Oh, you don't think
You know, Chi Chi, you are so awesome.
Devin.
By the end of these episodes, I was like, I am literally exhausted. If y'all don't give me a real conversation instead of these back and forths, it's just so easy. I really like being with you. She's the
Right.
best person. She's the best person in the world. What do you love about these people? Please
Yeah.
let me know.
Yeah.
I guess we're gonna find out.
Yeah, I'm ready for the reunion. It's like they just need to drop all the episodes and then just like fast forward, bring the reunion because
I mean, at least give us one wedding to be over. We already like to fast forward through these weddings. Why in the world would y'all sit there and stop before Ben and Sarah say yes or no? Now we got to rewatch that whole entire wedding scene. Do
I'm not
better,
watching
Netflix.
nothing.
Do better,
They could have
Netflix.
given that.
Also at the bar was like Meg, Madison, Alex, Mason, that whole quadrangle. They met up at the bar. And so before we kind of jump into them, some of the stuff that's happened on social media and it wasn't in the episode, wasn't discussed, wasn't featured, is that it's being reported that Alex allegedly was like involved in questionable behavior with underage women when he was like around college age, it appears. The reports are saying also, it seems like he's made some questionable comments to women related to the R word. I don't want to say it, but sexual assault or possible involvement in those activities. There was also mention of possibly like police having allegedly been involved or called or something like that, but no records of actual criminal charges against Alex were found by those who reported on this. And there were also some text messages that were allegedly from him discussing like a fictional scenario of having like a sexual assault and R wording someone in their sleep and referring to himself as either like this like a sociopath or something like that or acknowledging that he was or something like that allegedly. And so all of this, like I said, we don't have like independent verification of it. This is just what the reports are saying that allegedly happened. But if these allegations are true, like what are your thoughts and like how does that sort of change the dynamic of like how we look at Alex? Because that all of this threw me for a loop. I wasn't expecting any of this from anyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like I was like, are these two different people? It still doesn't make sense to me in my mind. Like when I was reading the reports and listening to all these people coming forward, I think there was also some reports from an alleged past ex who said that he allegedly wanted her to dress younger and appear like a younger girl. So I was just like, is this real? Like is this the Alex we saw on screen? So I feel like I'm like in like cognitive dissonance with this whole thing. What's fake? Like what identity do we deny here? I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. When he walked in, I was like, oh, I don't know how to feel about you because I don't know. I think where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't know how much of it's true and what of it is not true. But anytime several people are coming forth with some allegations that you're giving minors alcohol, there's sexual assault taking place, Ex-girlfriends are saying you want them to look younger. Like, there's just too many things
Too
happening
much.
for there not to be some bit of truth. And so I'm like, for you to like present the way that you did on the show, and we were all like, oh, our hearts really go out
Yeah.
for Alex. Madison is over here like she's messing up everything. And then they hear this. I'm like, this sociopath is fitting for me because you had all of us duped. Like, you
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah. And even what Madison has said when she came into the bar, she said that he met her. It was like, oh my God, meet me at the airport right now, whatever. And like they met up at the airport and he was just like, oh my God, like how she looked
Yeah.
and da da da. And then she was like, she brought up the Mason thing and he was like, F Mason, F Mason. And like just not on camera saying that, but off of camera saying that. And I tend to believe her. You know what I'm saying? I tend to believe that that's probably the energy that he gave. And that like that sort of I don't know much. Y'all are the psychologists, social, therapists. Y'all know a little bit more about the mindset than I do. But it seems like that this split, actions is giving, possible sociopath in a situation. If you're, behaving one way in one situation and in another situation. But the thing I want to just also say about Madison is that like chaos attracts chaos. Disorder attracts disorder. I think that they matched in the way they did in a way because of like that connection with regard to something being manipulative, you know what I mean, in both of them.
Right.
And so you find your match. It may not always be that you match on every cylinder, not trying to say that she is in any way to the level that he is. But there is something that they're connecting on, and there's something that they're vibing on a wavelength that is probably magnetic in a way that, like, you attract people who are showing you something about yourself, I feel like. But yeah.
Yeah, after hearing everything, I was wondering how much of Alex hearing Madison's trauma, attracted him, like,
Mm.
deeper to her and felt like maybe there was something he could manipulate in that situation, and so even him kind of like now I'm like, "Okay, were you playing with her emotions towards the end because you made it seem like you were about to propose to her, right? And then, like, you having all of these, like, reservations about how she's appearing, was it more so because you were trying to figure out how much of her emotions you can control? And so when Madison came into the bar and she was saying what she said, I immediately believed her because I was like, well, honey, if even an ounce of what is being said about this man is true, it's likely that he did say these things and he was putting on a front in the pods and he knew exactly what he was doing. And child, it's not looking cute at all. It's disturbing,
Yeah,
honestly.
Mhm.
I don't know how Love Is Blind continues to cast really these men with
problematic.
thorough background checks and, like, interviews. I'm like, "You guys all have a psychological process." Even in, like, diagnosing people, when you come in to have psychological testing, you collect collateral data as much as you can to have a complete picture of the individual. Are you not talking to past partners? Are you not talking to parents and friends to just see what possibly might be in there? Because even if they're not explicitly saying, "Yeah, I remember that he used to give, minors allegedly alcohol or whatever," if you circle things that just make me even have, like, a ding, like, possibly there's some
Right.
antisocial behavior or, like, something leaning towards a personality disorder, I'm going to dig further into it to just make sure because differential diagnosing is a thing, and so I'm just perplexed on how these things are happening, and, like, I really wanna know what is going into the psychological testing because there are certain tests that you just cannot fake the funk. No matter how much you try, so I'm
Really
yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I imagine that they're not doing a lot. But at this point, I'm like, why would he even? I was saying this to Chichi, why would you even go on to national television with this kind of stuff in your background? Because what I looked at the stuff, oh my lord, from Showtime with Ricky, and they were showing pictures of like she confirmed the phone number that other people had for him, and so she felt confident that those text messages or she seemed to feel confident that those text messages came from him because of verifying that phone number that these screenshots were showing from. Um, and so it's like, if you even just have that level of like past text messages with somebody, why wouldn't you have, a little pause before going on a national show? Because quite frankly, I wouldn't be surprised if he started having legal issues now because of all of that, coming to light, and other people coming out with different stories or whatever. I know he's like, statute of limitations probably passed on some of these things at this point, in terms of like he's 29. Some of these reports are from like him when he's 20, 19, 20. It seems like, but it's still like, why? And I was saying to Chichi that like, maybe in his mind, it doesn't even feel like it's something wrong, that he didn't even think like, "Oh, I have skeletons in my closet," because he doesn't even register those things as being something wrong if they in fact happen. You get what I'm saying?
Well,
And
that and he
so,
got away with it. It's been how
oh,
many years and no one has, what I'm saying, come forward, and the likelihood that you will recommit any type of crime is the fact that you did it once. And so if
mm,
you are constantly getting away with it, right, like your criminal mindset, it's just gonna
mm,
continue to grow, right? Like,
mhm.
so he might be far removed from the things that we've heard and that have come out, but who knows what he's done in these past couple of years, child. I feel like he about to have a time, for real.
Yeah, no, that's real. But yeah, so anything else on that? Because that was very unfortunate. But they're just one half of the quadrangle. So
Right.
anything else on that? Yeah.
Mm-mm.
So the happier side of the quadrangle, the one we wanted to, worked out, and it's Meg and Mason. How do we feel about it? Do you think how do you like they're like they're so they're friends, or they're hanging, like they both use non-committal terms, but what are your thoughts?
I was happy. I was so happy, and then I thought it was so cute that Meg wore her reveal dress, to the meeting, and they recorded it, and so I hope on the reunion we get to see more of that. I know it's probably, like, too far in the process for them to actually, like, show their love, like, unfolding,
Mm.
but I was wondering, like, Bliss and Zach, will we see their wedding at least? But it
What
sounds
I think
like they're not engaged, so
Yeah, I think that depends on if they decide to get married. You know what I'm saying? They sound very non-committal. So I think Bliss and Zach were very different. Like, I think they was sure about each other. You know what I mean? They
yeah.
were like, "It's you. I want to continue the process with you." He proposed to her, so I don't think that we're gonna see that happen with them. But I like them nonetheless.
Mhm.
Connecting.
Yeah, I was excited to see Mason and Meg come in together. I thought they had a really good connection. So I'm hoping that in the reunion we can see more of like how their love unfolded. They were speaking quite non-committal, but that could have been because they just didn't want everyone in their business. Because I imagine people talk, so they know the drama that's kind of like going around, and they may want like zero parts of that.
Sure, for sure. And that's
Yeah.
smart of them. Very smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was curious about like Madison saying that Meg had a message what's his name? Alex, and
Alex,
she
yeah,
didn't know if that was true or not. And I don't know, I was like, okay, who knows if this is true, cuz I
yeah,
don't trust anything that involves Alex or Madison for that matter.
right. Bring the
Yeah.
receipt.
Right. And
Right.
then also, I don't put it past Meg's personality to just be messaging everybody, or even the messaging the people in that quad situation, because I'm sure they knew that they were the four and what was happening. She didn't say what the contents of the message was. And so, maybe Netflix purposely left that blank to make us feel like there's something, else. But I don't put it past
Yeah.
Meg to be just friendly with everyone. And especially the situation the four of them shared. So
So, what are you all's thoughts on Sarah and Ben? Like she really had started to annoy me. Like season, what was it? Episode 12. I was
Yeah.
like,
yeah.
okay, Sarah. Ugh.
She actually was annoying me, and whenever they had their little overnight campfire thing,
Mhm.
kinda so annoyed me then because I was sitting there like, "You had this reservation in the pod. You decided to move forward. You have explored," and at this point, I'm like, it is very clear, right, at least from what we can see, that Ben does not have like negative views about the LBGT community. All the jokes, yes, the friends for hire, hilarious. Yes. But at the end of the day, like you see him always speaking positively about these things, and like he was consistent over and over and over again about how he felt. It didn't seem like we didn't see much of his family interacting, but it didn't seem like he was coming from a place where he would have like this large issue with it. So it was almost like Sarah felt like she had a fight for
Mm.
everybody. I was like, girl, you fighting for everybody and you about to lose your man. I don't know. It felt like too much. It was too much to
Really?
me. Yeah.
I think she didn't think she went far enough. Like that's to me. Like I don't think she wasn't getting on my nerves because I guess I assumed when you said she's getting on your nerves that was because she you were feeling like she was not actually getting to the root of the issue.
Oh
Because
no, she was getting on my nerves for what Victoria said.
well, that's so funny. I was the opposite. I was so the opposite. I was like, I don't think you're getting I think it bothers her. I think she recognizes that she has a very different outlook on life than he does. And I feel like she keeps trying to fool herself into feeling like, okay, we're similar, but it's really not the same. It's not the same in my view. Like she was talking about the church situation and how she has a different view on transgender rights. Whether somebody agrees with what the church was saying or not, she didn't agree with it. That's her personal values. He seems it was in one ear and out the other. And I think what she wants is someone who really deeply cares for the values in the way she really deeply cares. Well, the way she says she really deeply cares for. I do think she cares. I feel like this situation she's raising, he doesn't. He doesn't have a real opinion about it. It's okay for him, and I think she wants somebody who has a real opinion. I know she calmed herself down by saying, "I feel like I don't have to agree on everything with a person, but it's like you do need to agree on your important things." And that feels like it's an important thing for her, and I think that's why it keeps coming up. He's consistently showing he's kind of in the middle, but with conservative views, and I don't think that she's like liking that answer, and I don't think she's honoring that thing inside of her that's not liking that answer. That's what I feel.
Yeah, but that's what's making it annoying.
I
Honor it, right? Like if it's so important for you,
Yeah.
honor it instead of going around the ringer over and over and over again. I think what Ben was getting at was we may not align in this area, right? But we do have these other values that do connect us. And my thing was in that one conversation, I think it would have benefited her to say, but this value trumps the other ones, and so it just may not work for us. And she
Mhm.
just wouldn't say it for whatever reason. And that's why
Yeah.
it's annoying because it's like, girl, it keeps hitting you in the face and you keep bringing it up. And now you're at the wedding and you didn't even have to get this far because you could have said no at the proposal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the same. It's why it's annoying to me, where I'm like, you felt this reservation in the pods, and then you continue to go forth, and now you still feel this reservation. And I'm like, regardless of what type of church it is, it's still a church. And right, those views are never going to fully align with the views that you're having. It's just not. And so I don't know why you thought you were going to go to the church and then feel like, yes, they understand me. Probably on everything except for like particular rights about around the LGBTQ like community, right? Like you're probably going to align maybe on lots of things except for that. And you can tell the church is just trying to be accepting of everyone, right? Like they're not trying to say yay or nay.
Right.
And she didn't like that. She wanted them to be more definitive, just like she wants him to be more definitive. And I'm like, you're not gonna get that. And if
That's
that's
what
really, really important to you, that someone like, takes a stance and where they are, then look for that in someone.
yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, I actually don't think she's gonna say yes. I think she's gonna say no to the at the wedding.
And I think she should say no because I don't think that I think it keeps coming up for her because it is a thing. And when she said that line about something about her head and her heart, something not being in alignment, I was saying that to you, Victoria, the other day about like those things are important. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
your head, your heart, and your gut aligning and being kind of on the same page. And I think the fact that she even pointed out herself that her heart and her head are in different spaces, I think that speaks volumes about the decision she should make.
Yeah, I think her sister senses like, oh, she's trying to do things to please other people. Like, what do you want to do? And I think her sister was trying to encourage her, like, don't worry about pleasing anyone else. Like, do what you want to do. You know, what do you want to do? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm really curious is like, why is Ben pushing so hard to get married to her? That I also was like, he was like, I'm 100% saying yes. And I'm like, why are you kind of happy go lucky just skipping down the aisle? Like, do you
Really?
not feel any level of reservation?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like you should have just as much reservation as Sarah because the church means a lot to you, and it seems like
Yeah.
he enjoys going to church and, like, what's the saying, being equally yoked? Like, that's a thing. And
Yeah.
his family, right? Like, his family was like, "We've prayed over you." Like, I'm like, "Baby, this is embedded in who you are, in your identity, and I'm sure how you wanna raise children." And Sarah's
Mhm.
over here
Mm-hmm.
saying she about to be a CME. Christmas, Mother's Day, and Easter. Like, that's not that's not going to work. Like,
No.
I don't know if he's thinking maybe she will, like, at some point, through him, start to grow the desire to grow her faith. Because even her mom was like, "That seems like it's really important to him." And I'm saying, like, ain't nobody's value is important enough in this dynamic. It's not looking like because y'all walking down this aisle and y'all keep talking about I just love being with you. It's so easy. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Right. It takes me back to it because it almost comes off as I wonder if it's disingenuous on his part. Um, because like it takes me back to what the girl in the video, the TikTok video was saying that we paused and watched it during the last episode. His somebody he used to deal with, whatever. She seemed to be insinuating that he allegedly is like this manipulator type of person. Because she was saying something like he was just trying to get famous or something like that. Like he went to California, tried to make it big, and then she was like, when he did, and then next thing you know, he's on this show. And so she seems to be insinuating that he is desiring of fame, maybe, and if that is the case, right? It fits right into a narrative of why this person would be expressing no reservations in the face of the partner expressing reservations. It's like because maybe you think or know they're gonna say no. And I won't actually have to. I'll look like the good guy and da 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 da. So I wonder how much of it is genuine. Um, but it's hard to read Ben because it's hard to read him.
It could be because it seems like he just doesn't want to make a stance on camera, and who knows what their off-camera conversations are looking like at this point when it comes to those things, but every time he's on camera, he is, like, kinda, like, wading in the water,
Mhm,
and that might be his way of trying not to be controversial,
mhm,
um, and coming out of the experience looking like a bad guy, but I'm like, at the
mhm.
end of the day, y'all are both just not honoring what you want in a relationship, and so
Mhm.
it would be best that y'all both say no.
I just
Yeah.
get the feeling that most of these men in this Minnesota, wherever it is that they're at, it's like there's a small dating pool and they know that they can just be giving lip service, saying nonsense, doing nonsense, and get away with it. And they can date probably your cousin or, your best friend in the next year, right? There's not, and like, and women, like many women all over the world, they're looking for partners. They want to be married, right? And they realize that. They realize the dating pool is small and if you just happen to be somewhat of a nice looking guy, got a job. And so I feel like Ben, Alex, Dave, I don't think any of them are serious. It was one scene between Sarah and Ben when they were laying on the bed out on their glamping experience and she was sharing how she felt about him. And then he was like, I feel so much love. And then he farted and she was like, did you fart? And then he was like, oh, yeah. And I'm thinking that whole gulp as you were trying to figure out in your head what to say to her, I was like, I know the
Yeah.
camera crew was looking like, we can't really be falling for this. Like, who is
Right.
falling for this? Right. I don't feel like any of them are genuine. And I think that if his ex is saying, oh, he wants to like go and get famous, like, I told you he was giving me theater vibes. Like, I don't know what he does for work, but he still gives me
Yeah.
theater vibes.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's disingenuous for, whatever it is. It's not it's giving something. Something ain't
Yeah,
right. And I agree with you, Chichi, what you're saying. Like I do think that a lot of these guys do go on there thinking like, "Oh, my status will be elevated
yeah.
whether or not I um
You know with somebody or not.
yeah, that
Yeah.
might yeah. That's unfortunate. Her sister was the only one. Her sister and her I couldn't tell if that was her fiance, just her partner. Um were the only real ones in that whole dynamic. And her family. Her family.
Mm.
Her stepdad, I liked his commentary down when they were walking down the aisle.
Her stepdad was a bit much.
Really? I was like, "No, you go ahead, you speak some words, Papa."
I didn't feel like her mom was like helping. Her mom was just like, "So you gonna come to church with me now?" And I'm like, "Mama, that ain't the thing to focus on now. Trying to get her to
No,
the church,
literally.
right?"
I know she ain't been with you for how many years now? Give it up. It's yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Even the sister and the fiance or whoever she was to her, and this whole family, I don't know, was getting on my nerves. They
I will
already
say the partner was doing a lot.
she
Uh,
was.
he's
She was
very
being
opinionated.
yeah, she was being very opinionated, but she was also, like, asserting her opinion in a very, like, dominant and, like, aggressive manner, and
Mhm.
it's like and that's why the sister, I felt like at the end was like, "I want her to know that she needs to make a decision for herself."
Yeah.
And then here goes the sister's fiance, like, asserting herself again at the end conversation, like, "Allow the family to do what they do in this moment. You are an extra." Like, not even to be funny, but, like, "You haven't been there with Sarah all her life. Like, this is not your moment,
Yeah.
sis." You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, her sister said, "I want to let her know." So they were all getting on my nerves, honestly.
What? I really like the
Yeah.
stepdad. I don't think he did too much. I do think it contributed to her nervousness or her, like, unsureness, but I think he sensed that. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like when you sense that there is a level of, like, trepidation, like, some level of, like, caution that's going on or this person is unclear about how they feel, I do think that it's your duty as a family member not to heavy hit them with like you need to do this or you need to do that. Don't be so demanding, but I do think it's important to express like what principles and just, say like if you feel it, you feel it. If you don't feel it, you don't feel it. And those simple statements or whatever, I can't remember what the stepdad was saying. He was talking about like marriage is a negotiation. It's not what they say, it's not what you say, it's what are we gonna do? And like just
Mhm.
those little life principle things, it's like if those cause you to have be unsure, you were unsure already, and they're just teasing it out. And maybe you do need that the fact that you are unsure to be front and center with you. Victoria, your face this whole time has been like
Because I
like,
want to
"Honey."
know
Because
where have you been? Why are you just now expressing these things to her? He came in like he ain't been around. I was like, is he married to the mom? Like, are they still together? Like, I was just confused. Like,
He
yes,
seemed
they
like
were
he's
nice words, but I feel like there were things that should have been said before your daughter is walking down the aisle.
yeah, I agree. They weren't timed well, and
Yeah.
he was doing a lot. Like I was like, this is not the right timing to be giving all this. I felt the same way about the partner, where I was like, you got to learn how to deliver something so someone can receive it. And the way that you're speaking to her is a little much. She's not going to receive it. And I think because the sister and her are so close, her sister understands a more delicate, softer part of her, and like a people pleasing part, which she was trying to like allude to, that I don't think
right.
other people get. And I don't know, I did feel like it was just a lot. Like, let this girl breathe.
Mhm.
This is not end all be all. If she says yes, she can say no later, right? But like, let her breathe and figure out. Nothing wrong with giving like little tidbits. I agree. Partner, it was not your place. You did enough at the little meet and greet at the bar. You've said your piece. Stepdad, thank you for coming in, but where have you been the whole time? I agree. This is not the timing. Read the room. She's about to walk down the aisle, right? Like you and mom should have showed up at some point and actually met Ben earlier. Then you could have shared these words, like,
Yeah, because
and
he
I
just
made
like he just liked the guy or something like that. It was giving you haven't even met him.
Yeah, I don't know what's happened, but I mean, it is a quick process, so I'm gonna give them grace for that. And also, he seemed to be like maybe had mobility issues or something, because he didn't even seem like he was getting into that room as quickly as like, he could have. Like he just seemed like he was maybe I don't know because they seem like they hadn't seen him or something.
He is older, but I don't think they're actually as close to their mom and stepdad as what maybe we think they are, right? Because they didn't meet earlier. Mom was still trying to push church. She did not respond, nor did her sister say anything, right? And then stepdad comes in all late giving all this advice, talking about them watching SpongeBob as she was a child. And I'm like, this girl is in her 30s, like, or late
Yeah.
20s, right? Like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about, SpongeBob? So I feel like they're not as close with mom and mom and dad just came, for pictures.
Literally, yeah. I'm with you, Chi 110%. I'm like, get these people out of here. And like you said, Chi, this is not the end all be all. Like, these are things that you say before someone is like she's already full of all the nerves and all the things. Like, it's a high pressure situation. You guys are on TV. It was just too much. Like, if she says yes and decides to get a divorce during the annulment phase, cool. Like,
Yeah, I could see it.
yeah. I mean, even
I
if
can
she
see
said no, like, just be there for her. No matter what she says, just be there for her. That's all you can do. She's gonna
Yeah,
do
that's
what
why
she wants to do.
sorry. I would say, yeah, that's why I can see like the sisters' approach being probably the best approach of everyone in there. But yeah. Well, Virginia and Devin, what do you guys think about them? And that convo about politics. That was the first time that that was brought up, which was somebody pointed out on one of the comments that like, why is this just coming up? Like, what the hell are y'all talking about in the pods if this hasn't come up, if politics hasn't come up? And I agree. I thought it was a little interesting, his responses.
I don't think Devin is comfortable on the camera.
Mm, I can see
Like,
that.
every scene they have, it's almost like I can tell they just have the little card given to Virginia, and they told Virginia to ask this question, which is the same question. Do you have any thoughts? Anything you want to ask? Any reservations? Is there anything that you feel like is still like looming? And he's giving the same response. I don't know. I mean, like, not right now, like it was given. I'm not trying to have all these conversations on camera for real. That's like my whole opinion of Devin is he is uncomfortable with this process for whatever reason. Um, and it was making him a little cold, I felt like, towards Virginia a little bit.
It made me feel like he like his silence I feel like was very telling, that he may be more conservative leaning than she is, but it doesn't matter to him, so he doesn't wanna make it matter to her, so he's just silent. And she didn't really pry beyond this, well, she did pry actually beyond the silence a little bit more, but he still didn't give her a lot. And so for me, it felt like when he said his family is Republican or they vote conservative, I was like, okay, I can see that household doing that. You know what I mean? And it seemed like that was sort of, it almost seemed like he was giving me a little bit like Ben, like I don't really, I'm just kind of in the middle. It was very unclear to me as to what his stance was. It almost felt like he didn't have a stance. It almost gave like, did you vote? Because you didn't really seem like you clarified that. Like, do you vote? Like,
Yeah. I don't feel as strong about their connection.
Mhm.
Like, I don't I think I named it, maybe a couple of episodes ago, that I just felt like Devin was, like, more kind of homey and wanted maybe, like, a homey wife, and I didn't quite know if Virginia fit that, but then she was showing that she did, and then I was like, "Okay, maybe." But I don't know, I feel like she unfolds slowly, right? And which is great, just not really convenient for this type of process. And there's just a couple of things that were said that I felt like it was the voting bit, right? Which that didn't sit well with her. She kind of let it lay, but I could tell like that didn't necessarily sit well with her. Um, and I don't know. I think they're gonna like. I don't. It's something around money that I feel like they even though they've talked about money, I feel like they haven't really talked about money. I don't know. Something here doesn't seem quite. It is. It's not quite fitting. I like them. Maybe they could date a little bit longer,
mhm,
and maybe see as they unfold.
mhm.
Devin, I think he can be shy in front of the camera, but I also think it's quite weird to ask someone any other things you want to talk about, any other questions. I feel like automatically most people are going to be like, no. Like, I mean, I feel like things naturally kind of come up in conversation. And so it can be a little like someone putting you on the spot to be like, okay, let's talk about the hard things, kids, politics, and, all the other important topics. But I don't know. I'm kind of getting a feeling like their connection isn't as strong. I can't really put my finger on it, but I just have a feeling like something. I wouldn't say neither of them are being honest. I don't think they're not being honest. I think she's a slow unfolder in like, relationships, and that may not bode well long term for this very quick process.
Yeah, I wonder how much time they actually have in front of the cameras. Because, like I said, I feel like Devin is just super uncomfortable for some reason. Because every single time it's time to have a serious conversation, he is kind of he's short. He doesn't have much, to say, but he wasn't like that in the pods. And so I don't know if like the you having like 4 or 5 cameramen around you from all these different angles,
True.
right? Like, if that impacts how he's willing to engage with Virginia, because he even said like the whole PDA thing is a thing for him. And I think he even looks at like just kissing on camera as like PDA. So we don't see it happening that much for them. So I don't know. I feel like it looks like he is like cold towards Virginia for those reasons. And yeah, because I think I had saw a clip from Ben actually on TikTok, and he was talking about the conversation with the jamboree session for Monica and her family. And he was like, I can only imagine like how that felt being in the room with all the cameras, like, and all these different angles and like how they clipped in. And he was like, it probably looks so much better on TV, but in person it was probably like super awkward. Right. And so I feel like that kind of like sheds a little bit of light like to the experience, and like having to do things from different angles, and like wanting you to like re-say things, right? Like so that they can
Yeah.
capture what they need to capture. And so I
Right.
feel like that part of it is exhausting for Devin. That he just gives me he's tired.
That's funny. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I think that
Yeah.
they still have a very good connection and still a very good bond. I'd be very surprised if they didn't get married. But like it's they're not at the top of my list, of course, but um the thing that I feel like with him and her is like when she was doing the dress fitting and she was like, "Oh, I feel so fortunate to have met him." I was like, that those words that they use about each other make me feel like they are very into each other. His little gift to her with the jerseys, I thought that
Very
was so
sweet.
cute. And I
Really
just feel like
thoughtful.
I feel like they're into each other. And even this prenup conversation, like, I feel like it's turned out to be a nothing burger sort of thing. But I think that everyone went into it thinking he might have a problem with it for ego reasons, like in the sense of like, oh, why is she asking me for a prenup? But I actually think his concerns around it, whenever he's expressed it, like have been more about whether she's in it or not, and not wanting to
Hmm.
lose her, and like being like, you're not signing this so that we won't be together. Like you're in this, right? I think it shows that he actually does very much want her and want to be with her. And so, I see good things for them, but I don't know. He doesn't come across cold to me, like, but that's different uh perceptions, about like how people are coming off.
Hmm.
He doesn't come off cold to me when they talk. He just comes off as like, I don't have a lot to share.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it is the cameras. Maybe that's a thing that we're like noticing but can't quite name. Like I imagine it is very difficult to like open up and be vulnerable on camera. And so maybe that's the thing. I want them to make it. They're not my favorite
Yeah.
couple. I hate to say it. I think Virginia is boring. Yeah, like this head tilt with everything. I just be looking at her like, girl, get some viboom, something. Like, I don't know. But I want them to make it. They do seem very genuine, and the things that they say and do are quite thoughtful.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gives me Maya vibes. Like she's just like, "Nothing telling me
The
yes."
singer?
Yeah.
Yeah, the singer. Yeah,
No.
she's just
She may favor Maya, but
Yeah,
Maya
visually,
had some
nothing
like
else.
energy about her. Like Virginia is like humming, drumming.
Yes, even when they were doing their little dance, I was like, I
she's
just
making
saw this a Bridgerton background character.
Exactly. She doesn't give
Yeah,
main
no.
character. She gives like she is the supporting character. I hate to
Yeah,
say it, but she do.
she's so soft. And
Yeah.
she just, I don't know, she is who she is, but like every time she's like, oh, like I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
the
yeah.
Murphy face, but like,
Yeah. No,
I
yeah.
know.
She doesn't have a very exciting, energetic persona at all.
Presence.
yeah.
No.
Presence, yes.
Yeah. Alrighty. So on to Monica and Joey. Any thoughts or concerns? Are we seeing any cracks forming with them?
I wondered why she was unsure about his like, she was like, "I haven't really heard him say and commit to me." And I just felt like, "Okay." Because it seemed like he's into you to me, like, but being the person on the other end, she may not be getting enough signs. So they talked about that a little bit. And so I was like, is she being a little more insecure or is this really a thing? And so that was the
Mhm.
only thing that started giving me a question mark with them is like her level of like needing reassurance.
Yeah, same. I was a little confused there. I was like, I feel like he's very expressive in a great way, actually. Like he's
Yeah.
very communicative and straightforward and direct. So I was surprised that she thought that.
Well, he did say, like, well, you've noticed I improved, right? So I felt like
Yeah.
she was speaking about off camera experience because Joey has a lot of
Mhm.
energy, right? Like, wow, wow, hey, man. Like, he has a lot of energy, but we don't know how he is off camera. And so I think, energy doesn't necessarily translate to being intimate and them
Yeah.
having
Yeah.
intimacy and him
Yeah.
having these moments where he's looking at her and saying, you look beautiful, or, I love you, or, I want to be with you, or whatever. That's a lot different than was like, what? Hee hee ha. They do a lot of laughing at things that I don't necessarily
Yeah.
find funny, but like they do a lot of like laughing. And I'm just like, okay, I could get where she was coming from. I think it's a little bit of both because I think I mentioned last episode her insecurities are starting to come up and she's
Mhm.
maybe trying to hide them a bit because Joey
Mhm.
seems quite secure in who he is. And she doesn't, of course, doesn't want to be seen as like this person that's spiraling all the time. Um, I mean, I'm happy that she brought it up. It was in a very roundabout way. She was like, "Oh, what are your
Yeah.
love languages?" And then all of a sudden, she was like, "I don't really know how you feel about me." And I think he was kind of like, "Okay, how do we arrive here? But cool, we're here. Let's talk about it." I
Mhm.
get it can be
Mhm.
confronting to bring these things up. But he
Mhm.
also mentioned in another episode that he kind of is like in the moment. I go with not go with the flow, but I'm in the moment. I'm not thinking about the next day. I'm not thinking about the future. And so it seems like he has not told her I'm going to say yes, right? Like it seems like some other couples may have had that conversation and he may like hasn't told her yet because he's like, I'll know on the day of if I'm going to say yes or I'm going to say
Yeah, he
no.
did say
So I
that.
can
Yeah.
Mhm.
understand how that can be a little like, that's great, but it can be a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then one of the things that as you were talking that I was realizing that I think we're just like in my mind, I was like, he did the jamboree. What who else does he need to show that he proved his love for you? But it's like that just because they are a match and they match well, it doesn't mean that it's satisfying this need to feel desired and to
Mhm.
feel, like your partner is choosing you. Because matching and doing the jamboree could be like best friend vibes too. And so
Yeah.
it's like I can understand where she's coming from with that. I did note when I was watching it though that I felt like she's doing a good job of bringing up the conversation or like at least seems to be focused on trying to put it on the table, but not bringing it home. Like it seemed like she still left that conversation unresolved because she brought it up for a reason, but then it was like he was like, "Well, I did these things. You think I've improved?" She's like, "Yeah," but it's like, then why you bring it up? Something, led you to bring it up, and so it's like, did he convince you, or like, did you not just say, "Well, I still need a little bit more, and I acknowledge what you're doing, but I also need a little bit more of this and that." She didn't seem to bring it home and like finish, having him commit to, whatever additional support in that area that she needed, or it could just been editing. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, if they
Yeah.
say no to each other, I'll be surprised. I will say that the sister, when they had their conversation after, what was it, their photos?
Photo shoot, yeah.
Yeah, and she did mention, like, she can tell that they're into each other, and that seemed to, like, lower her guard a little
Mhm.
bit, but then on the preview, it looked like she still
Back
had more things to say, so I'm like, "Okay, where are we at with them?" But I do think nonetheless, like, they are gonna I would be surprised if they said, no to each other.
Yeah,
Mhm.
same. I have them a little bit higher than Virginia and Devin,
Yeah.
in terms of like, But anywho, any other thoughts on them before we move to Daniel and Taylor?
Mm-mm.
All right, Daniel and Taylor then. What are our thoughts? I have the least amount of notes about them. I'm like, they're gonna make it, in my view.
Yeah.
Because
That's
they're
it. That's
solid.
acceptable. Yeah.
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 They're solid. They really, I mean, I said it, like they really got the pick. Like what did they say on Bridgerton? Like you got the pick of the season. They got the
Yeah.
pick of the season for each other. They really did. Like it's such a good match. Their families seem to kind of like go well together. You can tell they're both serious. Everyone
Mhm.
else, I don't know if they here for the looks, here for fun.
Mhm.
You know what? I guess we'll find out at the reunion. But Daniel and Taylor, I'm like, oh, y'all came here. Y'all were really looking for love. You found each other
Mhm.
and this is great. Also, their dates be super cute. I'm like,
Yeah.
and also Taylor's outfits be really cute. I just like their
Right.
whole aesthetic and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think wasn't she wearing her reveal dress for their
Oh,
picture?
yeah. That
I
dress
Yeah,
thought
is
yeah. I thought that was
yeah,
super cute,
thing.
the idea of
Yeah.
making the Christmas ornament and, like, bringing that
yeah.
entire thing to their wedding with the Love Is Blind cups. I was like, "Yeah, y'all are it." Even his mother coming to her dress fitting, I was like, "Baby, we all it." Like, they are singing
Yeah.
Right.
to their
Yeah.
workouts, and because they are so short and so serious, they're able to have just fun with each other and be
Yeah.
lighthearted. And
Yeah.
you can tell they've already integrated their families very well because
Mhm.
his mom was at the dress fitting. So I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, this is what everybody wants
Yeah.
on the show," you
It
know?
is. This is what everyone is wanting. Like I mean, I think Taylor mentioned, "Oh, I'm already on a wedding invitation to, Daniel's friend's wedding." And I'm like, "Oh, y'all real coupled out." Like some people barely have met friends and like they already have like their first and last names on a wedding invitation at some point in the future. And I was like, "Wow, okay. I love it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're gonna do good. It made me think about I was like, was the vision that she saw maybe the future? Like, that's so Raven out here. She saw the Christmas
Yeah.
picture and him with the drink in the hand. That was the future, Taylor, Like, who knows? But yeah, what are y'all predictions for most likely to make it? I think we, kind of have a similar I think we're thinking them top
Yeah,
everyone, right?
For sure.
yeah,
And then
Yeah.
and then are we thinking Joey and Monica next, right? Or
yep,
no?
yeah.
And so y'all think they're a
Yeah.
yes, or y'all think they are, like, just second likely to make it? Like, do you think they're both yeses?
I
Joey and
think they're
Monica.
second likely to make it. I feel like Daniel and Taylor are the only for
For
sures,
sure.
and
Ah,
everyone
Mhm.
else is a little like, "Okay, like, what's gonna happen here?" But out of what's gonna happen here, I would say Monica and Joey are the most likely. Like, if they I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if they said yes, but if they said no, I feel like there could be something that I could find about it to make sense as to why they
mhm.
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I put Joey and Monica and Virginia and Devin, like, they're, like, neck and neck, like, but Joey and Monica
Mhm.
just a little bit ahead. I feel like they're all likely to say yes. I think they're gonna say yes. I'd be very surprised if they didn't, but if anybody in the match says no, I think yeah, do you see Devin saying no? Do you see Virginia saying no? That's why I'm having a hard time with them not making it. It's like, who's saying no in this dynamic?
Yeah, I feel like if anyone said no in Monica and Joey, I feel like it would be Monica.
Monica,
And if
yeah.
anyone said no in Devin and Virginia, I feel like it would be Devin.
Really?
Yeah. I think it would be Devin that would say no, but I would go opposite. I think it would be Joey that would say no.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
my
Yeah.
gosh.
Dang.
That would be devastating.
Yeah, yeah, it would be devastating. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone getting to that point, like if you were to wait until we're at the owl, I'd probably slap someone. I really would. Like we've had
Yeah.
numerous occasions for you to arrive at no, not here,
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joey, he just seems like Chichi said, he's very sure of himself. Even in that conversation he had with the sister, I loved how he didn't take blame for shit. Like he was like, "Yeah, so what was it about me that you felt like you were picking up on? Like holding her accountable for her statement and
Yeah.
what she was saying about
Mhm.
me, and know that I'm here for your sister. I'm here for Monica. I'm serious about this, and so if you have any reservations, just bring them to me, baby." Just bring him to me.
Mhm.
I really like Joey. Joey's out of I know we're not even talking about this, but out of all the guys, Joey is my favorite.
Really, yeah. Yeah, you
Mhm.
seem to like him. But I guess we all think that Sarah's gonna say no.
I hope
Then
she
I
say no.
do. I hope she
mm,
Yeah, I just hope that they say I don't know what they're gonna say, but I hope she says no.
no.
Like,
Yeah,
don't even set yourself up for the okey doke there, sis.
yeah.
even if she does say yes, I don't see the relationship going, like, really
Going
far.
far.
Like you said, she'll be the Ashley of the season.
No, I think Lauren took that well, I
Oh,
guess
you're
Lauren
right.
redeemed herself. She redeemed
Yeah, she
herself.
backed out. She backed
Yeah,
out.
that's true.
But yeah,
She
she
backed
will be the
out.
Ashley of the season though, like if she went for it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I feel like the episode 11 was entertaining, but then episode 12 just got right back boring. And like whatever, even the episode where the scene where they had us in the church, I was like, why we listen to a sermon for like a minute? Like,
Why did
what
you
is this?
watching Sarah watch this sermon and be uncomfortable? Like,
Yeah,
She
just give
looked
us a
so
recap.
uninterested. It was
yes,
just like, it was very uncomfortable to watch.
yes. And I was like, this message out of all messages? Oh,
I didn't know what the
Yeah,
message was saying. I was trying to
me
follow. I
neither.
was like, what is he saying?
I
it
was
just
just
like
flabbergasted
anybody
the
should
whole
be in the
time.
church. That's what it sounded like. She went to church to hear somebody talk about the importance that everyone accepts God. And I was like, well, that's not a good way to figure out if you want to be a part of a church.
Yeah, and I was just, like, watching it the whole time being like, "Are they really about to have us sit here watching this church sermon? Like, come on now, you can recap it, then we gotta sit through the recap of it, and then it's like, I mean, you can show a clip of it, like just a shot, it doesn't
Right.
have to be a whole minute long part of the sermon." But yeah, no, but this season, like I said, they doing funny things with the editing. It ain't the same sauce, but
Yeah.
it's what we got.
Well, alrighty, y'all. Until next week, again, we are Black Girls Talking TV. You can find us at Black Girls Talking TV on all platforms, Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Bye.
Bye.